friends, welcome to my channel, Creating Essence. I am Megan. If this is your first time to my channel, thanks so much for stopping by. Today is the third week of International Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And like I said at the beginning of this month, I'm going to be doing a video every single Monday talking about the topic, whether it's my story like was week 1, or last week I did 5 things to say and 5 things not to say to families experiencing loss. Today I'm going to be talking about a question someone asked me. When I first posted on this topic, I said that if you have any questions, even ugly questions, you can remain completely anonymous. Feel free to ask them. I want to answer. I want to get information out in the open so people realize, even with those ugly questions, they're not alone. They're not the only ones thinking that. They're not the only ones wondering that. And they're okay to think that. And I want to give you the information and resources you might need to deal with that. And even if it's not you experiencing loss, if it's just someone you know and you have a question that you don't want to ask them specifically, I would love to answer it. Feel free to ask in the comments below. I will have my previous 2 videos linked in the information box below, as well as my Facebook page, Instagram, and my blog. So feel free to check out those links at any time. So like I said, today I'm answering a question. When I posted my first video, someone asked the question, how do I deal? When will I be okay? And you know, that's different for every person. I totally get it. It's so hard because on the one hand, a lot of times, no matter when you lost your baby, whether that was the first trimester, 3rd trimester, shortly after birth, or even months after birth, you're never gonna be the same again. You will never, ever be the person that you were before you lost your baby. That tiny human has impacted your life for the rest of your life. The pain is never going to go away. You're just going to get used to walking with it. And you're never going to get over it. You just learn how to walk with it. It becomes less raw. It just becomes part of who you are. But you will feel joy again, and it will change your perspective on life, but you'll be okay. It just takes time, and it's okay to be okay, but it's also okay not to be okay. And that's part of what I wanted to share about dealing. Number 1, there are some great resources out there. Whether you've just been told your baby doesn't have a heartbeat anymore, or you've just delivered a baby that's no longer alive, or your baby's died months after birth, or your baby died years ago. We all still are processing the layers of grief. And there are great resources out there. One in particular, which I absolutely love, is an incredible wealth of knowledge for both families experiencing loss, the mothers, the fathers, the children, as well as other family members. If it's not you experiencing loss, if it's a daughter, a son, or a friend, or a sister, there's resources for how to support the people around you and understand what's going on so that you can understand them better and help them better. And that resource is Stillbirth Day. It is a wonderful nonprofit organization based out of Missouri, and it is an international organization, and it is renowned the worldwide. It is fantastic. I cannot speak highly enough about the wonderful work that the organization does, and what a wonderful resource it is to families in all stages of perinatal loss. There are also local groups. You can search miscarriage or stillbirth or infant loss groups in your area and you will find them everywhere. And that's something really important, is that you know that you're not alone. So many people don't talk about loss because it's taboo, because it hurts too much. Any number of stigma that's put on pregnancy and infant loss. But you're not alone, and there are so many people out there. You might be shocked when you speak up that you really have such an immense crowd of people on the same path as you. So aside from looking to resources like Stillbirth Day and local groups, I would say feel. Really feel. Like, let yourself get ugly and think those things, because grief gets such a bad rap, but it is so important to process. And however you personally process best, whether that's talking to other people, or perhaps you don't want to talk to people. A friend of mine said, when I experienced my miscarriage, I did not want to talk to people. I did not want to hear other people talking about their losses. I was hurting too much. I didn't want to hear about their hurt too. And that's totally okay. And it's okay to want to talk about it. It's okay to just be spilling out. And you need to let yourself do that. Let yourself process and feel, whether it's writing or talking or praying or whatever it is that helps you process in your soul. You need to feel those things to begin to cope with what you're experiencing. Another thing I would say is realize it's not your fault. 80% of perinatal loss, and that's before and after birth, is not something that is in the mother's control. It is not your fault, and I know a lot of times it's hard to believe that, because you feel like even in the instance of a chromosomal defect, somehow your body has failed. Even if it wasn't a conscious choice on your behalf, your body failed you or failed your baby. And as much as it may not instantly relieve those feelings, truly knowing and reminding yourself that it's not your fault is really important. You can also remember to let yourself feel joy. Notice the goodness around you, the tiny things, and it can be so hard when you're so overwhelmed with grief and wrapped in pain. It's difficult, but it's so important to notice the goodness, because life isn't just pain. There are still good things going on around you, and it's so hard. Sometimes it's really difficult to see other people experiencing joy, to see other people still pregnant, to see other people with their brand new babies. But to let yourself feel those feelings and then try to notice the goodness in the situation, it can do a lot of good for your soul. I would also say let yourself feel joy. When you get to the point where you can feel joy again, let yourself feel that. It's not a betrayal to your baby. My husband said he could tell when I was starting to move through the grief and process enough that I was starting to be more emotionally functional is when he heard me singing. And I am a singer. I sing all the time. I sing to my children their school instructions. I sing. If you watch my vlogs, you hear me randomly sing things out. But I stopped singing because I couldn't, because my heart was too heavy, and I just always felt like I was choking on grief. And when I was just moving around the kitchen, cleaning or making a meal, and a song came out, it was like this turning point where I realized I hurt, and I hurt bad. But I can be okay too. And that's not a betrayal to your child when you start to feel glimmers of joy again. And lastly, I would say honor your baby. Find a way, even if your baby died 30 years ago, find a way that is meaningful to you to honor your baby. Stillbirth Day's website, and I will leave that linked below, has a wonderful section on all sorts of ideas if you're having a hard time coming up with something for saying farewell to your baby. Whether it's planting a tree or having a small memorial or doing something on their birthday, or just so many more things that I can even suggest right now. But they have a wonderful section on farewells. For us personally, we planted a tree for our son in our yard. It's a lilac tree, and we specifically chose that so if we ever move from this house, we can dig up a slip from that tree and plant it at our new home. So we will never have to truly leave his tree behind, even if it gets enormous before we leave. And pretty much whenever the season changes, we go to the Target dollar spot in the dollar store or just different places, and we find new little lawn ornaments and rainbow pinwheels and all sorts of things to decorate all around his lilac tree and the mulch around the base of the tree. And my kids will go and play there, and they play with their toys, the toys that are there, and they say that they're playing with their brother, and it is really, it touches my heart so much. Some people plant flower beds. The tulip is a flower that historically symbolizes enduring love, even through pain, heartbreak, death, whatever it may be. It's a symbol for love that endures. So a lot of times planting a bed of tulips or something can be a great way to commemorate in nature if that's something that speaks to your soul. So there are many ways to honor and say farewell to your baby, and that can be a really healing thing to do, and it might not be for everyone, and that's okay. But it's just an idea of something that may get you on your way to coping and dealing and getting closer to okay. And you'll never be the same person again, but you will learn a new way of living, and you will be okay again. Just reach out for help. There are so many more people that are there and want to help than you realize. And that's all for today. I hope that spoke to you or is something you'd like to share with someone else. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, please post them below or send me a direct message. I would be happy to answer it or include it in another question and answer video. Thank you so much, friends. Bye-bye.